What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Mill, if you like. So let's get into it. So, just want to kind of take a look at a few things with the Cowboys getting kind of close to training camp. Kind of take a look at some of the positions that we're expecting maybe battles from, or just kind of looking at the overall state of the position compared to the expectations of the position. So today, first, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're at 73 subscribers. Once we get to 100, we'll give something away. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. So today, I'm going to take a little bit of a look at running back. So Pro Football Focus recently ranked the Dallas Cowboys running back room the worst in the NFL. This is actually for the second year in a row. So last year, I don't know if you guys recall, Cowboys had the worst ranked running back room in the NFL, right? They were dead last. They didn't, finish dead last in rushing. So Pro Football Focus was wrong. But needless to say, the Cowboys didn't have a great rushing attack, and the coach didn't help the Cowboys have a great rushing attack for multiple reasons. And that couldn't have been just the coach. It might have been Jerry Jones, the owner, the general manager, Stephen Jones, the CFO, all that good stuff. But we ended up having Ezekiel Elliott play way more snaps in the first 6 games of the season than any team should have Ezekiel Elliott out there. And we didn't decide till later on in the season to kind of make Rico Dotto the focus of the running game. And when we did, his efficiency went up. Our rushing yards went up. He played very, very well down the stretch. So it kind of seemed like there was some meddling there, whether it was by the head coach, whether it was by the owner, whether it was by a collection of people, to make sure that Ezekiel Elliott got as many touches as possible early on until they realized, okay, he actually is legitimately washed up, shouldn't be having him on the field. Now we're going to change gears. So I'm hoping this year that isn't a detriment to the Dallas Cowboys. I hope Brian Schottenheimer is much better at focusing on the plan. He seems to have a clear-cut vision. Everything that he spoke about throughout the offseason, the Cowboys have made moves to support his stance. And I think as long as they continue to do that, by supporting it with their actions as we get into training camp and as we get into the regular season, I think everything will be just fine. But we have to do that. So they ranked the Cowboys as the last ranked running back room. And I'm assuming it's because you have Phil Maffa, Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Hunter Lipke, Deuce Vaughn, and there's probably a few other people that I might be forgetting that are, kind of lingering and hanging around. But for the most part, that's your running back room. And out of those, Phil Maffa, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams, and Miles Sanders, they're not going to carry 6 running backs. They're not going to carry 5 running backs plus a fullback. So Hunter's probably safe, but then you're going to have to cut down to maybe about 3 of those guys. So that means 2 of those guys are either on the street or on your practice squad. We'll see what happens from there on out, who it ends up being, and how that proceeds. But I think most of the ranking for the Dallas Cowboys on that running back room is based on the unknown, right? So let's start with, Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams has come off of a torn ACL, and last year when he played off of that torn ACL, his efficiency wasn't really high at all. It did seem like he still was kind of making sure that he didn't hurt himself again, which who can blame you? You're coming off an ACL injury. Most of the time, most people think your ACL injury return is going to be better in your second and even your third year removed from that injury as opposed to the first year removed from that injury. But nevertheless, he wasn't his first year removed from that injury. And we'll see how it kind of comes around here once we get into training camp. The other one we want to look at is Miles Sanders. Now, Miles Sanders and padless workouts and basically glorified walkthrough was able to shine a little bit. They were saying, oh, he had some juice. He looked like when he was catching balls out of the backfield, running, he showed some speed, he showed some awareness, and they think that might be something that might be able to carry him onto the active roster when the cut downs come. But we'll get to see how that goes a little bit in training camp and some of the preseason games where you're getting hit a little bit and everything's kind of live. You don't have the basic reads that you have on the players, in the preseason or on the walkthroughs. And then also the offensive line, they have to actually thud up and pad up and block some people and fire off. So you're going to get to see them a little bit amongst some people who might not necessarily be starting on Sundays, and we'll see how he looks amongst that group. And so then you have another guy there in Phil Maffa. Phil Maffa, he's an late round draft pick, but we've seen those guys kind of come in all the time and make contributions. I really feel Phil Maffa is closer to your Brandon Jacobs, but he's not quite as tall. But if he puts on some weight, I could see him being in that mold. Another one that I've heard him compared to is LeGarrette Blount or Leonard Fournette. So any of those power backs that can, Deontay Foreman, any of those guys that run behind their pads and make it difficult to tackle on third and long, on third and short or second and medium. I feel like Phil Maffa, if he can get a chance to at least kind of plug in that role a little bit as the year goes on, he doesn't have to be in that role against the Philadelphia Eagles. But if he can plug in that role as the year goes on, I think that'll be a good thing for the Cowboys. Another one of the backs, Jaden Blue. I think he'll be an asset out of the backfield catching passes. And I also think that he'll be an asset out on the edges, definitely in the screen game. And I feel like some in between the tackle, too. I do feel like he's going to actually be okay in between the tackle. I'm not saying great, but okay in between the tackle. So, and then you have Hunter Lipke. He's kind of like your do-it-all guy, right? He's a little bit fullback. He's a little bit tight end. He's a little bit H-back. He can play a little bit of single-back sets. He can be in the third down to pass protect. He's just kind of a well-rounded guy that the Cowboys can use in multiple roles, so I don't see him going anywhere as well. So I understand the ranking of the Cowboys as last. You start going around different running back rooms in the NFL. I mean, the Giants have Tyrone Tracy. He played okay last year, but I really don't think the Giants running back room is too much better or dissimilar to the Cowboys running back room heading into training camp. You start to look at some other teams around the league. I do think if you're looking in the NFC in general, maybe actually that's probably it. That's the only one I would say I would give them over the Giants because I'm starting to think of Seattle. Seattle's a great backfield. The Rams have a great backfield. The 49ers have an okay backfield. It just wonders on what Christian McCaffrey is going to come back and do. But their backfield's at least okay. The Arizona Cardinals, as long as John Connor's back there, James Conner, sorry, John Conner is for my Terminator fans. But as long as James Conner is back there, that backfield is going to be pretty good. So maybe just a little bit ahead of the Giants. And then I guess if I went across every team in the AFC, maybe I could find a team or two that they were better than just starting off the season. But I do think that by the time we come to the end of the season, it's going to be very similar to last year. Those people who are ranking the Dallas Cowboys running back room last, they're going to be dead wrong. I do think the Cowboys are going to be better than last. I don't know how much better than last they'll be, especially when you factor in not just the raw totals, but the efficiency numbers and the next-gen stats. When you talk about yards after contact as opposed to yards before contact or success rate, there'll be a lot of different metrics to measure, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to end up with the worst running back room in the NFL. But hey, who am I to say? Maybe we'll see. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's JMiller if you like. You can hit me up at knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can also hit me up at knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. I'll take questions here. I'll take them via email. Take it via comment. Roll into a mailbag. So maybe as we get like 2 episodes away from training camp, we'll drop our mailbag segment. I know I said I was about to drop it, this time, but I'm gonna hold it a little bit just to try to get some questions closer to Cowboys training camp. But we got a nice collection of questions, and we'll take some from there. And please keep submitting them. Submit them in the comments below. Submit them on Twitter. Submit them to the emails. All that. But thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Until next time, I'm your host, J Mill. J Miller, if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.